Boy, it feels good to see Manchester United win a game of Premier League football. To see United score, not once, spoilt. Got 2 goals, 3 points, 2 goals, and just an overwhelming sense of relief because after that first half, it very much felt like a continuation of what we'd seen so far this season. But United came out, I wouldn't say inspired, but United just came out like United in the second half. All right? Old Trafford should be an intimidating place to go. That ball from Rashford, the finish from Garnacho, Old Trafford. It rose. And Brentford got intimidated. It's so simple, right? Score goals, you win football games. Yeah, sure. We have just struggled so much this season. What changed in that second half? United were winning the duels. United were winning the ball in the opposition half. And the quality was there. That was the difference maker in that second half, man. Garnacho had like 5-6 chances in that first half. Yet the one he scores is the hardest. A wonderful ball from Rashford, who, by the way, worked his socks off today. Off the ball. Definitely a good performance from Rashford. But Garnacho was the difference maker today. He was running at the Brentford defence. And look, football is a simple game. I saw the interview with Fergie and Ali McCoist early this week. And Fergie was just sitting there going, you need to send fans home happy. First half was just awful. We were nowhere near the press. Can we just stop pressing as a forward unit? We're so much better when we screen. Not that we have to sit really deep, but just don't try and win the ball on the edge of the opposition's box. We get played through every single time. It wastes energy. It's easy to play through. It's an abomination. It's like Sunday league level pressing. But that ball from Rashford, that goal from Garnacho, and followed up by that goal from Hojlund, which was just a wonderful moment of quality. Bruno with the flick, Hojlund with the striker's finish, lifting it over the advancing Flecken? Is that his name? Don't know, don't care. I think it is. It's relief. Right, Man United in the top half of the table. Great. Fantastic news. It's early enough in the season so far that stringing a few wins together, all of a sudden you're in the top 4 again. All of a sudden the season seems on track. That's what goals can do. That's what wins can do. But United in the first half, we were almost, I wouldn't even say passive because we created some chances, but it relied on the transition. Casemiro and Eriksen being in that midfield was supposed to create more opportunities. Did it? I'll tell you what, Casemiro, I think actually had a pretty good game in the second half. I think United came out in that second half as a collective. And that's what I've been screaming for. Progress, development. And the second half had progress. The second half had development. And I said it earlier. I'll say it again now. Rashford out the right-hand side. I never really will like Rashford on the right-hand side. I just won't. I just don't think it suits his natural game. Some wingers are capable of playing on the left, of playing on the right, and even playing through the middle. Rashford, his best football comes on the left-hand side. We've seen enough evidence over a long enough period of time to know that's the truth. But he really worked his socks off. And in that second half, Diogo Dalot ended up being that inverted fullback role. There was that pass from Onana that went straight through to him. Every time that Dalot went into that position, Rashford dropped back in to cover his space. And Rashford is somebody who certainly gets accused of not working off the ball. I think he did everything right in that sense today. And it was the moment of quality. We want United to be a team that creates goals through build-up. 2 wonderful goals we scored there today. 2 very quick goals. Rashford to Garnacho, Bruno flicked through to Hojlund. I mean, football is about the individual moments, really. You can be the best build-up team in the world, but if your striker doesn't finish, it doesn't matter. Hojlund got the finish. Garnacho got the finish. And for Erik ten Hag, that game, that win was needed there today. You kind of saw what it meant to him and Ruud van Nistelrooy on the sidelines. Because United in the first half were an absolute atrocious team. And can I just say here, right? I'm glad that we can talk about this as a side talking point. How negligent do you have to be as medical staff to see De Ligt get kneed in the face, by the way? You know, I don't know how that's not a foul. Sure, De Ligt is dipping his head, but Shana's knee was just at the same height. It's a foul. Anyway, De Ligt's head is bleeding. Right, okay, off you pop, get it fixed. Come back on. It's still bleeding. Off you go. At that point, put a wrap round it. It's going to bleed again. That's right, put him back on. Then you take him off on a corner, and Ethan Pinnock, and by the way, as good as Dalot was in the inverted role in the second half, he just didn't fancy defending for that corner. Would De Ligt have been there? Probably. I mean, that was his position, right? But just what are the medical staff doing? Wrap the cut, which is going to obviously open again. It opened what? He went off 3 times. Once the original injury, one more time before it, and then again for the corner. Just put a bloody... It's just ridiculous. I'm glad that we can talk about that as a side point. I'm glad that we can talk about moments of quality here. This United team, look, I've said this before. When it's got to this sort of point with managers previously, I've looked at the squad and I'll be like, who's going to do what and from where? There's no quality there in that team. This team has an abundance of quality. This squad is far better than it has been playing this season. And it was the moments of real quality that made the difference there today. Garnacho with the volley, which was the hardest of his chances. Bruno with the flick and Hojlund with the finish. That has to be... The first half was a complete continuation of just how lackluster United have been. Of how it's kind of been like pulling teeth watching United play. We may have had chances in the first half, but it was just... I don't know how to describe it. It just wasn't United. And in the second half... Old Trafford, I'll repeat this again. Old Trafford should be a place where players do not like coming. And you saw how much of a difference it made when that goal went in. It's like Old Trafford was sort of desperate for it. And they just used it as energy. And the team, all of a sudden, they're like, oh, go on in. Crowd's behind me. Go on in. We can win the ball higher up the pitch. Go on in. And things just started looking a bit easier. Because the players had the confidence of the crowd backing them rather than the crowd like scrutinising every pass that they are doing. And look, as I said, football in its simplest terms is great. Score goals, win games. That's what United did there today in that second half, not the first half. It was awful. It was. We created some chances. It was all down to Garnacho and transition on the left-hand side. And the press, and I'll say it one more time, just give up on the front press. I swear to God. We do that against better teams, and we're going to get more punished. Brentford, they got their goal from the corner. I don't particularly think they were a threat. I mean, there's an easy man in the match today there for Garnacho, who was the shining light of that game. Constant threat. Whenever he had the ball, he made something happen. And that's what your wingers should do. I would personally rather see Garnacho on the right and Rashford on the left. But seeing as how Garnacho played there, you can understand it. Hojlund with a magical finish. And it's just, a win can make a difference. Goals and wins are the only thing that are going to turn the momentum of this United team. All right? You could have a half in the first half against Crystal Palace. That counted for nothing. It didn't change anything. No matter how good we were in the build-up and how many great chances we created because we didn't score any. Today we scored. Hojlund scored a banger. Garnacho scored a banger. 3 points, 2 goals, up to 10th. Woo! Top half of the table. Build on that. Fenerbahce next. Mourinho, that's going to be fun. West Ham without Mohamed Kudus. Let's find out. Play like that in the second half. Play like United. Don't be passive. Easier said than done, I suppose. But it just feels good to see United win a game of Premier League football.